Good morning.
Yeah,
How are you doing? All good at your end?
yeah, doing good. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Let me introduce you to Xartup. Sudhindra is the co-founder of stowNest, which is a Y Combinator Summon 21 forward company, and they are solving for the problem of storage for the consumers. He has 17 years of experience in various domains, starting from consulting to software development. He's also a computer science engineer. So, welcome to Xartup, Sudhindra. Pleasure having you here.
Hey, same here. Nice to be in this forum.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's begin with the format of this conversation will be keeping like 30 minutes of time initially to talk about stowNest, how you began the company, and if you can share some stories around that. And then we'll be opening up the floor for questions from the fellows.
Sure.
Perfect. Let's begin with the story before beginning with stowNest. So, how was your life before that? How did you come up with something to solve for the storage problem? If you can share some insights on that.
Yeah. Actually, I was part of HP Enterprise, Hello Packard Enterprise, working on global accounts. I was doing my product development, and then actually got into solution engineering, which gave me a good amount of exposure globally. So this global exposure actually introduced me to what is called as a self-storage concept. And till then, neither myself nor my my own family or my friends actually we were aware of something like self-storage is there, where people actually can keep up their belongings for a short term or a long term. So I was actually working as an enterprise solution architect, and my exposure actually outside actually introduced me to this self storage as a concept. Till then, I didn't know, and in fact, during my own relocation, I relocated and spent some time in Europe, in Grenoble, France. That's when I actually moved all my belongings to my mother's place in the first floor in the north part of Bangalore, and it was there for a little more than 14 months till I came back. So I had that luxury to do that. But when we started actually talking about this problem in 2018, when myself and my three of my other co-founders came together, we started talking. Two of us actually could relate to this problem because both of us had kind of like experienced this ourselves, and the other two actually people were looking at doing something around on-demand warehousing because they came from a little bit of warehouse leasing and warehousing background, and they said they are actually looking to create kind of an on-demand space for the urban people, and the idea actually got immediately married, that storage and the warehousing thing. What we were doing, we were four of us, just to introduce the team. Myself, Sudhindra. I have Ramesh Chincholi, Amit Kumar, and Srinivas Murthy, four of us as a co-founders of stowNest Storage. I was myself, Ramesh, and Amit were all engineering classmates. That's where we met. We did engineering projects together in third year and fourth year in Ramaya, MS Ramaya Institute of Technology, and then we went on to do our corporate jobs. And then finally met in 2018 again after a long break, and we were looking at what is that next thing that we want to do and what is the problem that we typically would like to pick up on. So each one of us had our own ideas, and I think we eventually concluded on the storage part of the problem.
That's really interesting. How did you like validate this idea in the initial days? Like, you got into action that storage is the problem that you want to solve through your background, through your insights. But how did you validate that this is something which is going to work? This is the problem that consumers are facing. And before that, if you can give us how stowNest work, most of the folks here might not have used your services, so that would be great.
Yeah, sure. Sure. In stowNest, actually, when we started, we said we're going to provide a valet service. We provide an end-to-end service from picking up from your place. stowNest is all about providing physical spaces to store your belongings. Could be your bags, could be your clothes, could be your entire furniture or appliances for a short term or a long term when you're away. You don't want to keep it locked in your home and pay for rent, or you're unsure about the security and safety of the items. So that's when actually typical people usually take up storage, and stowNest is
सर
one of those early
मैं
stage
देखना
startups in the
जूम
Indian.
मीटिंग में करना ज्वाइन करते सही से।
And what how it works is people typically come on our portal and request for a storage, selecting the city, what are they planning to store and how long they want to store, do they need moving help or not, and accordingly they get an instant estimation of both the storage rental, which is a recurring, and one-time moving charges. People then go ahead and actually reserve a slot by selecting the date and time and giving their address and number. Then the order is confirmed. A couple of verification happens from our back office, and then finally on the day of the pickup, the moving team actually goes to the customer's place. We pack everything with a premier quality packing, multi-layer packing. We usually do 4 to 5 layers of packing for the furniture, the appliances, and all the delicate items. And of course, the carton boxes, the rest of the items in the carton boxes, and move to the storage. Customers gets a digital catalog of all the items that we have taken to the storage. So they can actually access it on our app, and they also get a monthly invoices starting from 48 hours after the invoicing. They start getting the first invoice, and it keeps happening every 30 days. So that's how it's there is no lock-in, there is no contract. People can terminate the storage at any point in time. So it's a month-on-month extension of the storage contract. That's
Correct.
how actually it works. In terms of validating the idea, so it all began actually December 2018. Actually, August 2018 is when we met, and we were actually doing a bit of research, validating on the warehousing, on-demand warehousing space problems. How do we actually look at utilizing the unused spaces and things like that? So there were like little bit loosely defined problem back then. It took us 3 months. By December 2018, we met a lot of people. We met warehouse managers. We started actually asking for place ourselves as a customer, and no one was ready to give a short-term space. They're not ready to give a 50 square feet or 100 square feet for sure for an individual. Usually they work in like at least you should take up 3,000 square feet or a 5,000 square feet. You need to sign a contract. There should be a 1 year or a 3 year kind of a vendor lock in and all this multiple compliances, right? Which was actually not really going to work for the B2C segment, and also many single or small enterprises, they cannot actually go through this process. So because they're not sure about the business itself. So we validated this idea by meeting people, and then eventually we read a lot of articles on the other parts of the world how the storage is working. Self storage is more than like storage is a 100 years plus concept in US, and of course in UK as well, Europe. And self storage actually got more formalized 70 years back in US, and only last 3-4 years back there has been a bit of revolutionizing the way storage has been working in US. In US, people rent a truck, they buy packaging material, they call their friends and family, they pack it yourself, do it yourself concept. The culture there is do it yourself, and then they drive the truck directly into the storage, drop it over there, and come back. And whenever they want, they go and access it. But only recently, actually, we've seen that US is taking a Valet storage approach where the storage companies themselves provide an end-to-end service. There are many storage companies, and it's a very well-established organization in US. In India, if actually when we started doing the research, we did not come across any single name then. Right, I mean, any single name actually which is known to the people that there is something like storage is available, and there are storage providers available. So it became more and more. It gave us a little more confident that I mean we are in the right track, and that's how we zeroed in on the idea. That was part of the validating the overall idea. We immediately December 2018 decided we're doing storage, and we created a simple website in 3 weeks of time. Got a phone number, actually put it on the website, and then opened up the number, and we were waiting for the calls. We were waiting for the calls. Me and Amit actually were sitting in our home and waiting for the calls every day, starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. And the calls started coming in, and we had our first customer, but we did not yet had our storage facility, I would say, because we don't know anything about the storage as such, because we came from a very different background. But all that we knew was we could probably pursue this problem and try to provide a more professional experience. That's what was our confidence. We started getting calls, and we got a confirmation call from a customer saying that I want the pickup next coming Saturday. Like we had 2 or 3 days of time, and we did not have we did not still have the storage facility. So immediately just spoke to Srinivas Murthy, who comes from the warehousing leasing background. They do a family business of warehousing leasing, and immediately he said that don't worry, go ahead and confirm the order, and we'll manage it. We went ahead to the customer's place. We actually engaged. We were only four of us. All four founders actually went for the first pickup. We took a paper. We did a kind of like a paper cataloging of the items, and then we actually engaged a more moving vendor, and they actually did the moving job for us, because we also wanted to learn how things actually works. The packing, how each item has to be packed. It was like ground up. We had to learn everything ground up, and then we brought the item. We really brought the item into a small shop. I mean, by that time actually we had just got a a small shop. I would say not even 500 square feet of shop. Very small shop actually we got, and then we actually took a kind of a chalk piece and earmarked like this one box is for the first customer. Meanwhile, when we were doing the first customer job at his place, I got another call. I mean, I used to actually take the calls. My number was configured, and another customer from Indra Nagar actually said that I would like to take up storage. Would you be able to do it for me today itself? We were not sure whether to do it or not because we didn't want to go that fast. But anyway, we had the team, we had the vehicle with us that day, and on the road we said that let's do it, and that's how we just went and we picked up the second customer. Both the customer we moved it to the storage, the shop that we took later in the night. We dropped you we dropped you two boxes and put the customer one in one box, customer two in two box, did a paper cataloging, and that was how we got started actually.
That's
from
very
from that
interesting. Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, from that 0 square feet today actually we have grown. We can talk about it more later, but we are touching close to 5 lakh square feet in storage capacity. So
That's really amazing. So, how is the storage space in general? How did you figure out that there is a niche where the customers need this service, and how did you go ahead exploiting that niche in the upcoming days?
there were actually two things which kept giving us more and more confidence. Every time, like we started talking, we took two customers in the first month, then it became 15, then it became 30, and then it became 60, and so on. We reached actually around 120 by end of the first year in a month. 120 customers in a month. Every customer we spoke, they said that we didn't know something like this existed. Okay, it would have been so useful if I knew this earlier, right? So those statements actually gave us more and more confidence that it's actually about awareness. The need is there, but the providers are not there in the first place. The second thing is people are not aware of the what whoever providers are there. People are not aware about it. We are not the first company, I would say. Where there was actually a small company in Delhi actually which has been doing. There is one in Pune actually which has been doing storage much earlier than this. There is one in Bangalore also which is doing. But we realized that people don't know about it, right? And all these companies actually have remained in their individual cities. They've really not gone outside their cities. So every customer that we spoke to, we realized that this is a need more than actually this more of a like a want. This is more of a need for every customer. To give you some examples, who uses storage space, right? We had the very beginning customer. We had a couple actually who were waiting for the possession of their apartment, and they didn't get it on time, and they had already decided to vacate their place. The owner actually had given it to another tenant, so they took up a storage for 1 month. They moved to their friends place. We kept it for 1 month, and they got the possession and they moved it, right? So the simple use cases like the delay in possessions of their apartment or their own property. We had customers actually who were reverse relocating. They were coming back from Middle East after 20 years of working over there. They had a 40-feet truck full of items that they had selectively acquired over the period of time, like some lamps from Turkey, some unique things, some porcelain dishes, and things like the paintings, even electronics, sofas. They had actually all handpicked all these things for their living, and they didn't want to live it over there, and they brought everything into the country. But they wanted to build a house here. They didn't come with a ready-made place. They moved to a rented apartment, and they had already bought a plot, and they were actually constructing a house which should took more than 8 months or so. So during this time, the entire thing came and actually sat in the storage. So that was another kind of use case, reverse relocations, right? We had people who take up for their house construction. They're renovating their house, even during kids, right? We actually call it as cradle to grave use cases. There is a kid actually which has grown up, and a lot of this including this cradles, toys, cycles, there's so many boxes of toys which has been there, in at least like 8 to 10 boxes, and they didn't want to give it away. They had plans of another kid, and during this time actually they moved all the kids item including the toys and things like that to the storage, and they plan to probably take it back when they think, or they might donate it as well if not. And if I talk about students, we have had student customers. We have had the regular customers is students and relocations, people moving out like me to another country on job, not being available for more than 6 months or 12 months. They typically put up their belongings into the storage and come back and retrieve later. Reverse relocation, we talked about it. And we also had a lot of this use cases where one of the parent actually has died. The age couples are living together, and one of the parents actually has died. The daughter or the son actually comes and takes the other parent to their home, and they move the stuff to the storage for a short period of time till they figure out what is going to happen with the other parent, where are they going to settle, they're going to go back to the native and things like that. So we realized that from cradle to grave, all kind of people actually needs spaces. It could be a simple box, one box, or it could be the entire home. But definitely there is a great need for storage space. So that's actually how things evolved for us. And we knew when we wrote the website, we only wrote 3 use cases. But today, after 3 years of time, I can probably give you more than 100 plus different user stories actually who have been using storage for different needs.
Great. And how was it during COVID? Like I remember shipping from Mumbai to my hometown, and like shifting my storage spaces, luggage was a major issue that people were facing. So how stowNest used to help people during that point of time?
Yeah, I think what we saw during the COVID was actually COVID really helped the storage providers like us. The visibility. I mean, people really were in a panic. They were not sure about when the offices are going to open, and they had this flexibility to work from their native. So it's a very good thing to actually being productive and actually still being with your family, right? I mean, it's a nice way. So people and most of them were staying in a rented place. What cost you at 20,000, 25,000? 2 BHK rentals in cities like Bangalore or even in Pune and Hyderabad. So people actually could just store the entire house for less than 3,000 rupees per month, which is like 90% of the savings that they could have. And this gave us suddenly last August, we started getting around like 300 leads, 300 to 400 leads in a day, which used to be like around 100 leads a day. We started seeing almost 5 times and 10 times during August. It actually became 10 times peak, the amount of leads. And people actually there is a first wave. I mean, when I say first wave, the first wave of people who moved to storage, who moved to native, they're the early movers. Then that was in June, July, August. Then September, October, November, we saw the second set of people who are assured that they're not going to come back sooner to the city that they work. And there was a second set of people who moved. And by December, January, we had all those people actually who were moving to native because of the work from home had taken up storage. Then again, things came back to normal post January, February this year, 2021. We've had the regular, I mean, kind of customers who are taking it up for other needs as well. So that those 6 months, 6 to 7 months of time from last June to December, we did see that there was a huge spike. The best thing about this was it taught us two things. From we were only doing around 10 orders per day. We were only able to execute around 10 orders per day before this COVID. Because of the lead, we actually made some change in the operating model. We actually started onboarding many vendors, which otherwise we were doing it all by ourselves. So that gave us like a execution capacity of more than 100 orders per day. We could execute like 100 orders per day. We actually could actually do the inwarding arrangement, the collections, the payment, everything related from just from packing and moving till the storage, till the collections. All those things actually got set. So the process got set. We actually understood that we were actually ready to actually execute when there was a need to scale, and also a lot of visibility, right? People actually started talking about it. CNBC did an article about us. A lot of this business editions actually did write about storage in general. Your story actually wrote a detailed researched article about this, and Deccan as well, TOI as well. So which gave us good visibility that people now, we were thinking in 2019 that it will take 4 or 5 years for us to bring this kind of a visibility. But I mean, fortunately, it actually worked out really well for all the storage players last year.
Yeah, that's an interesting caveat. When we were thinking like fintech is the only space, or maybe along with few spaces which were growing in the time of COVID, storage was also something which was growing and wasn't like very visible to the common people. So moving ahead, I'd like to know about the competitive landscape that you had with stowNest in the initial days. Like you mentioned, there were a few local players in some cities who were doing the same thing, but in a very different way. So how was it like, and how did you create your USP in the initial days? I think you're on mute, Sudhindra.
Sorry. There's one storage company which we saw self storage in Noida, which has been there for more than 5 6 years. They've remained in Noida, around Noida and Delhi. There was one in Pune, actually US based doctor. Then they have actually remained in Pune or Mumbai. They've not expanded beyond that. Even actually, for that matter, Safe Storage or Self Storagians, actually a couple of players who were there before us. Some of them were there from 2016 timeframes. But maybe actually they had a very selective set of audience, and they were doing it as a business. More of them actually they actually had a small. I wouldn't call it as a warehouse. They had a huge kind of a single floor house or a building kind of a thing, and we used to actually stack. When we came in, actually, we moved from two orders in a month to 100 orders in a month. We saw that there is definitely a need, and the kind of use cases that was shaping up as we actually spoke to new customers. We had expansion plans, so we actually moved. We were the first one to move to Hyderabad with cities, including Noida. Actually, we are in 6 cities: Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, Chennai, and we are the only pan-India company today who are providing storage services across the country. So, what that was one of the, I mean, we saw that there is a problem here. Actually, we didn't come here as a business, or we didn't come here as a just we'll put up a self-storage kind of a unit and people will come and use it. So we didn't approach it in that way. The more we spoke, actually, we realized the kind of problems, and we just wanted to go behind more and more such use cases and try to actually solve the space problem to as many people as possible, not just Bangalore. So that actually thought actually gave us really flexibility, right? I mean, in terms of our growth story. So we were present in all the major cities, and instead of doing 100 orders in Bangalore, we were able to actually execute almost 50, 60 orders in every city on an average, which actually took us to around 400, 500 orders, which otherwise staying in a single city wouldn't have been possible. So that was one thing. Second thing is, from day one, actually, we are the only, again, like we are the only company which had an app from day one where people actually can come in, they can actually just reserve or place create their wallet order for the storage, and there is a confirmation that goes in, and they can also see all the items actually on their app itself. That the one is a sofa, two is a fridge, three is a cot, four is a dining table, and so on. Actually, we do a complete digital cataloging, and they can actually do a partial or a kind of a full delivery request. They can say I need 3, 4, 5 to a new address on particular date. They can just do it on the app. So we try to simplify the overall user experience. One is the quality of service itself. The second thing is actually the transparency in the pricing. Pricing is like highly transparent. We do an item based pricing where you give me one item, I charge you for one item. Give me like 4 items, I'll charge you for four items based on the large, medium, and small categories. This is purely a cloud concept where we are trying to apply that the you pay per use model. Whatever you use in terms of space, in terms of the items, you just pay for that, and highly transparent. And the pricing was transparent on the system. Estimation was all transparent, and that's actually one of the USPs we started with. Today, if you ask me like what we've been doing, we've also actually the early moves in terms of onboarding vendor networks. A lot of people actually used to do it themselves, or actually they used to just pass it on to the vendors. But what we did was we didn't just pass it on to the vendors. We actually managed. We continue to manage the user experience end to end from the time it has come in till the time it actually takes back. Anything and everything company takes assurance and reliability. That's I mean we are actually working as a closed. I would say we're not like a marketplace or anything that actually I just get a job and actually give it to a vendor and they do it and it goes and sits in another place. No, it doesn't work with storage at least because there is a lot of trust involved. It's not item to be sold. It's actually already bought item and I have kind of an attachment to it or a sentiment associated with it. So that way it's more of a trust and we manage the trust part. End to end. That's one more thing. And of course the team itself, we bring in, we actually approach this with a tech approach, right? We didn't come here as a warehousing business or a storage business, like unlike other players who are there in Pune, Delhi, and Bangalore. So we totally took it from day one as a tech company, wherein we were trying to actually create the self-service model where people can come and book the storage, request the delivery, make the payment, everything online that way. And even actually we use a similar workflow automations from the operations point as well. People actually can assign the orders to a particular vendor, track the quality of this order on the particular day, get review comments, photo proofing. We do actually all kind of photo proofing from the vehicle, from the team, from the damages that is actually taken care. So all those things, there's a bit of process driven and tech driven that is actually giving us a bit of edge, I would say.
Got it. Got it. That's interesting. So, what were the growth metrics that you were tracking while scaling up stowNest in the initial days and now even?
Yeah, I think it was about users. Actually, we were not looking at. You're really not looking at any kind of a margins or a revenue growth. I would say the first year we were looking at like, can I fill the warehouse? I told you that we took a shop, and then immediately, actually within 10-15 days, we saw that there was calls coming in, and we took up 3,000 square feet storage, 3,000 square feet. So the whole thing was then, how do I fill this 3,000 square feet? Would it take me 3 months? Would it take me 6 months? Or I don't know how many months it would take to fill this 3,000 square feet. So we were always actually thinking that I want to fill the storage facility. So get the users, fill it up, get the users. It took us only 1 month to actually fill up the 3,000 square feet. Okay, and then we took up another 3,000 square feet right behind that, and actually it again got filled up in like the next 45 days. And then we actually got another 5,000 square feet by the fourth month. We got a 5,000 square feet that actually came for 3 months. It actually came for 3 months, and then we took up another 15,000 square feet. So all the thing actually which was there was grow the space, increase the capacity of the storage, and keep actually filling it, right? So today, if you look at it, on average, we add anywhere between 30,000 square feet month on month. Every month we add 30,000 square feet to the capacity. So we're growing at. So coming to the metrics, we grow now. Today we track the number of users. We do around 500 users every month. We've been doing 500 users every month since last year. Slowly with the Delhi, Mumbai inclusions, actually we are growing close to 800 users now on a monthly basis. We're trying to touch that target. In terms of revenues, we have been tracking revenue also actually since last November December timeframe, where we do $260,000 in a monthly recurring revenue, and our annual run rate has been around 3 million. We're actually looking at closing this financial year at $3 million in overall revenue, and we have been profitable already since last year, and we've been growing profitably, and also the pricing has been so low, like 10% of the rental cost, which has been adding value to the user from a monetary point as
Quite an amazing growth. So, like, what is your scaling up plan from now onwards? Like in the next 1 year or 2 year, if we see.
well. What we have been looking at is, so we are present in 6 cities. We typically, the immediate focus for the next 3 months is grow in Delhi. Delhi is a huge area. Unlike Bangalore, we had two clusters in Bangalore. One is east and one is west. But Delhi, actually, we're looking at growing in Noida as a cluster, Gurgaon as a cluster, and Delhi itself as a cluster. So Delhi itself can be equivalent to 3 cities like Chennai, Pune, Hyderabad put together. It can be such a big city, right? Same with Bombay as well. Actually, we're seeing Navi Mumbai, and the Belapur side of an area actually are different clusters. So we would like to grow. This will all become like sub cities for us. So from 6 cities, you typically move to 10 cities. I mean, considering the Delhi and Mumbai itself growth, we're looking at moving to tier 2 cities. What we see is, since the use cases we're talking about is not related to only working professionals or kind of an IT or a BT kind of a thing, right? So the house renovation happens everywhere. There is a wedding actually happens everywhere, and we have customers actually who move their items, like 1 room or 2 rooms of items to storage during the wedding duration to accommodate the guests. So these are all some of the things actually which would exist, whether it is Jaipur, whether it is Ahmedabad, or it is actually even Indore or Bhubaneswar or Lucknow for that matter, right? So the next set of cities we are planning to grow is all these tier 2 cities. Definitely, even they have the storage needs, and we want to be present in as many cities as possible. So we will move from being 6 cities to 20 cities in the next 18 months of time frame. It would mean that we are typically around. We have served close to 9,000 plus users today, and we'll move from serving 9,000 plus users to maybe close to 30,000 plus users in the next 18 months, something like.
That's amazing. So, thank you so much, Sudhindra, for walking us through the journey of building stowNest.